Hi everyone. So today I wanted to make a video about some of the dangers that um, people in my field, which if you guys don't know, I'm a professional actor, um, especially young women in my field have to deal with. And that's basically the fear of possibly being assaulted while you're trying to build credits for your resume in this industry, okay? Now, I was lucky enough to get my start in acting in the theater. And when you are an actor in the theater, it's a bit easier to know that you are in a legit operation because it's a theater company, you know? Things do happen, but you at least know that like you're not just going to like some strange man's house and, doing your thing. Um, I will say that when you are a young woman who is trying to get into film, though, you are going to have to be, at least at first, most likely, a part of non union, backyard projects. And a lot of them are legitimate. Um, I would say most of them are legitimate, but occasionally you can find, girls trafficked or other terrible things happen to them if people are claiming, oh yeah, we're working on this project, we thought you looked great, you're such a up and coming star, we want to work with you, and you end up on a casting couch or some other kind of thing. And especially after like the Me Too movement became so big, I know a lot of young women in my industry, or just women in general in my industry, were very wary, more than usual, about going to some of these things. I was at an audition within the last year, and I had done my research. I had done my research that the person who was claiming to have the audition, it was going to be at his house in his backyard. People do this, but this is very concerning for a young woman, okay? If you're showing up to an audition, you don't know that it's going to be in their backyard, and you're expecting to go into like an office and you're at somebody's house, and there's like a paper sign on a tree. And I just remember going up there. I had been smart. I had sent my boyfriend at the time like where I was going, so he would know. Like the thing is, I was commuting from San Diego, so this was a big drive. It's not like what could he do if something went wrong. So I walk up, and I knock on the gate, and a man comes up, and because this is so important, and when you're getting into the industry, you have to do projects like this to get your reel and your resume going. You have to trust your gut. You have to have your red flags going, like full awareness. Just be in like almost fight and flight mode constantly when you get there. Feel things out. See if people are a little bit sketchy. Okay. I just remember I went there, and it took a couple of minutes for me to be like, oh, okay, looks like a legitimate operation. But it was concerning. And there were I was by myself. I was the only person auditioning at the time. And then it was the man director and his woman choreographer. Okay? And just because there's a woman there does not mean that she's not in on it. Okay? I think if you watch like the Jeffrey Epstein Chronicles, you realize like it's people are all in on it, okay? So I remember I was comfortable. I did my audition. It went well. There were two other girls who came while I was still there to do their audition. And one of the girls, her red flag radar was like up. She was not feeling comfortable. She was so sketched out by the fact that it was, in someone's backyard. And then the director wanted us to take a field trip, just walk down the street to see, there was like a theater at the corner where he was going to shoot some stuff. And so we were going to walk down, and I could just like feel the tension in all the girls. And so we walk down, and then we walk back, and he wants us to sign these non-disclosure agreements. And in them, it said that he could use our likeness for whatever. The thing is, that has to be a part of the agreement. If they're going to record your audition and give it to any other producer or anything like that. And that's a normal thing. However, I remember this had gone up around Facebook recently. It was like some meme that talked about, just so you know, be wary if this is included in the NDA agreement. they could use your likeness without your permission for anything. They could make a video game with your likeness. So be careful, you know? And I could just like see like the cogs going in her head. And so she asked questions about it. She was respectful, but she was kind of insistent, like, why do you need to have this as part of the thing? And so and the director was totally like tactful and whatever. She goes and he rips up her contract and he's like, I will not stand for that disrespect. And I'm just thinking, I'm like, this man has no idea what these girls are thinking when they're going to an audition in someone's backyard. It's scary, okay? Now, it's just, you have to toe this line of like, I want to make a good impression, I want to protect myself, and it can be pretty intimidating. Now, I felt like one of the other girl, like I was gonna leave. I felt like the other girl was feeling very uncomfortable too. So I offered, I was like, oh, hey, do you need a reader? I can read for her. And they were like, oh, Kelly is so, giving of her time. She just like wants to like help her fellow actor. But also I was like, you know what, I trust these people, but I can tell this girl is really uncomfortable. So we got done. I left. There you go. More recently, I was a part of a film. That was an audition. This was a film I actually got. And it was on a website that was pretty legitimate, but still kind of sketchy, and it was a nighttime shoot. I've never been a part of a nighttime shoot before. And I was just coming in to play a strangled woman in a horror movie. And so I was like leaving my house at 9 p.m. down in San Diego to be there at 11 p.m. In Los Angeles. If you're wondering, like, oh, that's a really short amount of time. Yeah, it's quarantine, so like there's no one on the road. So I go up there, and I had done my research beforehand. I looked up all like the director's name, the producer's name, but there were a couple of red flags, okay? So the main director, he was legitimate, but the producer's name, I looked him up and on IMDb, and it said he had died in 2019. The thing is, it's possible and almost very probable that his company lived on, But I was like, oh, this is sketchy. Okay. So again, I make sure people know where I'm going, all that good stuff. Once I arrive at the location, I text my husband. I'm like, I'm here. I get out, and it's in an apartment building, okay? Concerning. But I go up to the door, like I knock, and it just so happens that the crew was moving, because apparently there were a lot of women that were, being strangled by the murderer or whatever during this piece. Okay, so there were a lot of women in the room. There was a whole crew. I'm like, okay, this feels good. Okay. So I walk in, and they take me up to the room. It's like the green room where you hang out before you're needed on set. And there's a lot of young women who look like me in the room, okay? And this is probably what... I was calm until I saw this girl, okay? She looks kind of like a Liv Tyler type. Pretty, slim, tall, young, maybe 18. And she has this voice, like, the kind of thing you would envision for, like, a sex-trafficked young girl. This is exactly what I envisioned, okay? Like, oh, yeah, hi. I giggle too much. And, like, the director comes in, and she's like, oh, can I come too? Like, I just, like, want to watch. Like, oh, my God. Like, oh, my God. Like, I can't handle people like this. But she was the first girl I saw. And I was like, this is a red flag. The rest of the girls were, like, totally, like, cool, legitimate. One had just come from, like, a Black Lives Matter protest. Like, everyone else was cool. But I was like, oh, my God, this girl, like, you tricked me. And the thing is, the whole production was so good. The director was kind. The crew members, everyone was friendly and kind and legitimate. They even had one of the crew members walk me to my car after. It was a wonderful experience. But the point I'm trying to make here is, when you're doing non-union film, you have to just keep your red flags up. You have to. You have to protect yourself. And now I am eligible to join the union. Once you join the union, you're pretty much fine. Projects are more legitimate. I'm going to be doing that this winter. But right now there's no point to pay my dues because the industry is kind of closed down right now. But until then, this, you really have one choice if you want to get into this industry. You have to be your best advocate. You know, you have to take care of yourself, unfortunately. And it is a real scare. It's a real scare, you know, to be sex trafficked in this society because, you know, you look at like the Harvey Weinstein situation, and not just trafficked. Think of like assaulted, raped. There's so many things that could happen, you know? You have Harvey Weinstein, you have the Jeffrey Epstein, you have, if you haven't seen the Out of the Shadows documentary about sex trafficking and Satanism in Hollywood, please look into that. It's a lot. Like pedophilia, like watch that documentary for yourself. Decide what you think of it. There's tons of primary sources in it. It blew my mind, so I recommend it to you. But yeah, that's my situation. That's what happened. It was fine. It was fine. But yeah, every time I go into one of these places, you have those thoughts. You do, and you have to really be your best advocate. All right, guys. Thanks for watching. Bye.